Hey everybody, do you feel like your air gun or air rifle isn't as accurate as it should be? Well, stay tuned and I'll hope to help you get your air gun more accurate than it's shooting right now. See you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching. Okay, so there's a few things you can actually do to help your air gun's accuracy. If you see here on mine, this is a Crossman Phantom. It shoots lead up to 1,000 feet per second and alloy pellets up to 1,200 feet per second. Problem is, with all those alloy pellets, you're going to have to search and find which ones shoot great out of your gun, depending on the yardage that you're wanting to sight it in at. So, since this is, my air rifle, I usually hunt at around 20-25 yards. That's when I shoot animals or target practice at. My 22 rimfire rifles, every other rifle I use, I start out at 25. Well, you got to take in consideration, this is just an air rifle, and not all air rifles are like this one, but majority of them are. The ones that you could pick up at your local department stores or hunting stores or whatever. They either have a spring in here or the new system they come out with. This tells you how old I am. I call it new, the nitro piston. The thing is, these guns are set from the factory to be a super long creep trigger. No matter what gun it is, I don't care if it's Gammo, Benjamin, Crossman, Ruger. There's some new ones out like Swiss Arms. They might say they're adjustable trigger, but the stock trigger pull is going to be super heavy. So that's the first tip. If you haven't already, adjust your trigger. My trigger now breaks at about 1.5 pounds. There's no creep to it. It's an actual, it says it was a 2-stage trigger when I first bought the gun, but it didn't act like a 2-stage because it was just a full-on, full stride, pull back the trigger, and then pop. But the thing is, when you kept squeezing and squeezing, you had to keep squeezing more, and it actually turned the gun a little bit and threw my accuracy off because it had like an 8-pound trigger pull. So what I done was, if you haven't seen my video yet, go check it out about doing a Crossman Benjamin trigger job. And it got my gun down to a 1.5 pound trigger, which is super awesome. I mean, I could just barely touch that. Once I get it to that second stage, and then just barely touch it, just a tad more, and then pop, it goes off. So that's the first thing, your trigger. And the second thing is, you might want to get an optic. If you don't have an optic on your gun yet, get an optic. Your optic's going to be the best bet for accuracy compared to iron sights. You're going to want to do something, get a decent scope. This is just a 4x32, but it holds up. It's a crossbow scope. It's going to help. 4x32 is just enough power for me at 25 yards where it's perfect. I don't need anything better than that. I don't need adjustable parallax or an adjustable variable scope. 4x32 is perfect out to 25 yards. And like I said, that's just my sight in length, and that's where I hunt at. I don't really shoot farther than 25 yards just because that's how I am. So once you have an optic on there, that's going to help you out really big. If you don't shoot with an optic, get an optic. Next, you're wanting to find a pellet that actually shoots good. Now I stick with lead just because it's cheaper, and I don't really care to hit that 1,200 feet per second mark, just because if you don't know, those alloy pellets break the sound barrier, so they're super loud. Well, not the pellet itself, but the air behind the pellet, once it breaks that barrier, it cracks out of the barrel. So, your gun, anyway, is already decently loud. I'm not saying it's loud as a firearm by any means, but it's not like silent as a bolt-action rimfire with a silencer. All you hear is the hammer drop on them guns. But this, you're going to hear a like a you're gonna hear the actual piston or the spring actual slam into the receiver up here, and that's what's gonna make you jerk when you pull the trigger. So I use lead pellets, just like I said, because they're cheaper and they're more available than the alloy. Alloys come in limited quantities like this right here. These come at 500 for, like, I think I got these for $6. And this is what my gun shoots really well. If you haven't seen my video on this gun, I got about, say, 3/4 of an inch off camera, just because I was really getting practice with this gun in, and that's what I achieved. That's about the tightest group I can get. It's 3/4 inch, which is superb for this gun. If you can get that low on an air rifle, that's awesome. So yeah, you want to get your pellets. And another thing to mention is these lead have a residue on them. These lead pellets do. So if you want to actually put these pellets in water, or like run them in a colander over sink water or something like that to rinse them off, that's even better, because you're going to make your pellets turn into more of a match pellet. Because the only difference between these bulk pellets and match pellets are, well, not the only difference, but they're more polished and they're more formed for your barrel. The match pellets, you know, they're going to be more expensive, and that's why they take more time to quality check them. These are just run off the mill, factory, you know, made in bulk. 500 packs right there. 500, you know, match pellets are not going to come in that amount unless you order bulk match pellets. But anyways, like I said, find all this stuff, you know, make sure your gun and your scope sighted in. That's going to be a big deal. This is sighted in at 25 yards, like I said earlier. It shoots these pellets great. Awesome accuracy out of them, especially with this new trigger job. And I think the only other tip I could really give you is, if your gun or your manufacturer of your air rifle actually recommends a pellet, you might want to try that pellet out first. That way you can save money in the long run, instead of going through all the different brands of pellets and different types. If your pellet gun... Okay, we're back here again. Sorry, like I was saying, if your pellet gun manufacturer recommends a pellet, you know, like I said before, that's the one you want to start out with. Really, that's about it. The only other tip besides the last one here is to get a decent pair of scope rings, because on these air rifles, all you have is a groove. I don't know if you guys can see that very well, but all you have is a dovetail groove that mounts, and these rings are specially made for that groove. So if you buy rings for your gun, make sure you get the dovetail rings. But yeah, I think I covered the basics. That's about it, guys. I hope you like these tips. Other than that, you know, if you have any questions, comments, or anything like that, leave them in the video, or check out our live broadcast stream every Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern. Actually, just stop by and join in. We have live chat available if you have any questions, comments, or concerns for us. So, alrighty, guys. Well, I hope you liked the video, like I said before, and we'll see you on the next one.